Okay, today we are going to be making a Chinese inspired dish. This is going to be low glycemic, so it's perfect for those who are managing type 1 or type 2 diabetes or in the pre-diabetic range. Generally, this is going to be really good for anybody who is looking for a healthier version of a Chinese noodle dish. So I'm gonna roll through the ingredients, that way you can see what type of ingredients I'm using, because that's what's gonna be important in creating a blood sugar friendly Chinese noodle dish. So I'm gonna start first with the noodles, because that's the most important part in making this low glycemic. So what I got is, the brand is Miracle Noodle. This is the fettuccine. It is a plant-based noodle, so it is made with konjac. I may not be pronouncing that correctly, so correct me if I'm wrong. Flour. So that is going to be a low glycemic option versus something like a white flour fettuccine noodle that you might be using. Up next, to balance this out, because you don't just want noodles, even if you are using a more low glycemic or complex carb option, you still want to pair it with a protein and a fiber. That's really going to help your body break everything down, balanced, and really prevent the spiking of the blood sugar. So up next for protein, I'm going to opt for chicken. You can use whatever you want. I'm going to use chicken and I'm going to slice it. If possible, if it is within your finances, and if it's locally, because I know sometimes locally I don't even have this as an option, get a pasture raised bird. I have options in the freezer section if you don't see it in the fresh section, but this is the pasture bird brand. And like I said, only a few grocery stores around me have this. So now we have a carb and we have our protein. So what are we going to do for fiber? You probably saw it already. I have some cauliflower that I am going to chop up. I have some cabbage that we're gonna shred. And then I have some carrots. I have baby carrots, so I'm gonna just probably slice them so that they're the same bite size as what I'm doing with the cauliflower and cabbage. So we have some fiber, we have some protein, and we have some complex carbs. So let's get to cooking. Okay, so we're gonna prepare these noodles first because they're not like normal noodles. What you're gonna wanna do is we're gonna open them and we are going to soak them or rinse them more like in water for 2 to 3 minutes, and then we're gonna dry them on our pan. So I'm gonna walk you through the steps with you. So I have my bowl and I have this strainer, and I'm going to put my noodles, I'm gonna strain out my noodles, and then I'm going to rinse my noodles in my bowl. If you want to do it in your sink where you are just having it in the strainer and the rinsing out with running water, you can do that as well. This is gonna help save a little bit of water. So it'll come in a package, and it is liquid in there. So I'm gonna go drain these real quick in my strainer. So this recipe calls for double of everything I'm putting in today. I'm making a single serving. So if you notice that I'm only using 1 package of noodles, it's because I cut the recipe in half. So if you're following along and you're trying to do the recipe with me, just know that the recipe is for 2. We're gonna get our water and we're just gonna strain it. Okay. So while this is sitting in water, I'm gonna get my pan ready. So if you, which you should be, are using either a cast iron or stainless steel, how you cook or how you heat more like really matters in how the quality of the pan works. So if you're putting your pan on and your temperature is way too high, in a cast iron and a stainless steel, it's gonna stick really bad. So because we want to dry these off in the pan for 5 to 7 minutes, I want to get my pan on a medium to high heat, and that's going to take a couple minutes. So we're going to get that started while this is finishing in the water, and then once this is done, we'll be able to dry it in the pan. So for this first round, when we're drying these noodles, we don't need oil in the pan, If your pan is well oiled, that's okay. Just make sure there's no puddles of oil. You know how sometimes if there's a lot of oil, it'll puddle. It's okay if it's well greased. Dump out this water, and then we're gonna dry them off in our pan. So the pan is looking pretty good. I am actually gonna get this timer, and I'm gonna set it for at least 5 minutes. Sometimes I have time deception where I think it's been 5 minutes and it's been 45 seconds. So we're gonna use a timer in this case because we really wanna make sure that these are dried and ready, because this is what's gonna create a really good texture for these noodles. Okay, so we have our noodles drying, so I'm keeping an eye on those. I have it on a temperature where it's that medium heat, where it's not cooking too fast. So it's at a perfect temperature where you can let these dry, stir every now and then, and we're gonna work on cutting up our protein because that's our next step. 1/2 pound of chicken. Like I said, I'm making this for 1 serving, so I'm gonna do 1/4 pound. This is 1.16 pounds. So I'm gonna eyeball it, but if you don't wanna eyeball it, you can get a scale. These scales are really easy. And you're gonna want to, when you weigh your chicken raw, just know that you want a little bit more, because when it cooks, some of that fat's it's gonna leave. So it's gonna weigh a little bit less. So if you're cooking or if you're weighing, weigh a little bit on the heavy side, I always say. So I'm cutting raw meat. So I got 2 different cutting boards. If you don't have 2 cutting boards, that's okay. Just make sure you rinse in between cutting your meat and when we cut our vegetables. Noodles are looking good. I'm gonna do about 1.5. And you're gonna wanna slice it. Everything that we do today is gonna be sliced in similar size. When you're cooking, you always want everything to be the same bite size. Your proteins, your vegetables, everything. So since we're slicing this, we're gonna do something similar for our vegetables, as you'll see. If you wanna wear gloves, you can. I'm gonna wash my hands after. My meat is ready and sliced and ready to be cooked. I have about 1 minute left. So I'm gonna wash my hands and wash my prep station, and then get ready to take the noodles off and put the chicken. Okay, so that was 5 minutes. The noodles are looking pretty good. There is still some moisture on them, so I might let them go another minute. Our next step, we're gonna take the pasta off of heat and we're gonna put it in a bowl and we're gonna set it aside. Okay, up next we have our chicken. So I am gonna use the avocado oil. So you're gonna use about a tablespoon. So you can measure it out if you'd like, or you can measure it with your heart, either way. I'm gonna turn my heat up just a tad. I had it on the medium lowish side for my noodles, but now I'm gonna turn it to medium high-ish. We're gonna cook our chicken until it's brown on the outside. So while our chicken is browning, we're gonna prepare our vegetables, because once it's brown, we're gonna add our vegetables back in. Or we're gonna add them in, not back in. So because it's already heated up from the pasta or the noodles, I don't need to wait. I'm gonna put my chicken in. And I actually just like medium heat. Every stove and pan is different. So if it's cooking a little bit too fast for your liking and it's sticking to the pan, you don't want it to stick to the pan. If it's sticking to the pan, it's too hot. Our chicken is browning. We're gonna cut our vegetables. So grab your cutting board. You could, if you're using, excuse my dog, if you're using the same one, make sure you washed it, or you can use a different one. Cabbage in the fridge from another meal. So we're going to use it. I'm gonna take off this outer leaf. Like I said when we were cutting the chicken, everything wants to be similar bite size. So when we're cutting, I'm gonna kind of shred the cabbage. For your recipe, you want 2 cups of vegetables. Remember, I'm halving it, so I'm only doing a cup. So I don't really need too much cabbage. So I'm gonna grab my cup and I'm gonna go at this again. So that if you took it apart, it's bite-sized. Okay. Up next we have carrots. I'm gonna check my chicken. Four carrots. I have baby carrots. If you have big carrots, it's gonna be the same way how you cut it in what we want the end results to be. So baby carrots, you're already almost there. I'm just gonna cut it. I'll probably cut it, I'll quarter it. Not quite a julienne, but I'm gonna quarter it. And then our last vegetable that we are gonna do is our cauliflower. So I'm gonna just take off one piece of it. So we have our cup of vegetables that once the chicken is cooked, we're gonna add in our vegetables. And then once our vegetables are cooked, we're gonna add in our sauce. Okay, so the chicken is getting brown now, so it's about time to add those vegetables. Okay, so I have ground ginger. The recipe that this video goes with does call for fresh ginger. They did not have fresh ginger where I went. So that's perfect because sometimes there's not fresh ginger. So you could definitely use ground ginger with the chicken. So I'm gonna use about half a teaspoon of fresh ginger, and I'm gonna put that in with my chicken and my vegetables while it cooks. And I'm also gonna put in my garlic cloves. So I'm gonna put in my vegetables, I'll put in my ginger, I'm gonna chop my garlic clove quickly, and then I'll put that in as well. So we'll put in our vegetables. Then we have half a teaspoon of ginger. Oh! So I have added everything and I'm gonna put a lid on while it's cooking, and now I'm gonna mix up the sauce that we're gonna add in with the noodles. So now for the sauce, we're gonna need 1.5 tablespoons of liquid aminos. You can use coconut aminos as well. I have Bragg's liquid aminos on hand, so that's what I'm gonna use. This is a good replacement to soy sauce. So we're gonna do, now if you're following the recipe, it's 3 tablespoons. We're gonna do half a teaspoon of sesame. We're gonna get about half tablespoon. Depending on if you're halving the recipe or doing the full recipe, you want to follow the guidelines. Whisk this up, and then it'll be ready to go on with the pasta. This sauce at home is really going to help if you are managing type 1 or type 2 diabetes. A lot of times sauces that you buy in the store are going to be high in sugar and added sugars, that is. So when you're making a sauce at home, you could control what kind of sweetener you use. Today we used honey. You can even opt to not have a sweetener or use something like a stevia drops as well. So one pro of making your sauce at home. The vegetables are soft and tender. So as you'll see, if you grab a fork, the carrots you could press your fork through the carrot. That means they're nice and cooked. Same thing with the same thing with the cauliflower. Maybe not the stem, but that top part you should be able to smash your fork through. Now we're gonna add our noodles and our sauce, and we're gonna mix everything together. chopped up some green onions. This is optional, you don't have to do this. I'm gonna do half of it right now, and then I'll chop the rest when I put it in my bowl to eat. It's pretty good. So I have my bowl. I'm gonna top it with a little bit more green onions. Again, just a simple swaps of the type of oil I cooked with, the noodle I used, and the homemade sauce is gonna make this more friendly for managing type 1 and type 2 diabetes or blood sugar in general.